and do Psalm 50, and then we go in and then we do the great entrance and come in. And when I'm setting the gifts on the altar, I say, in the grave with the body, but in Hades with the soul is God, in paradise with the thief, and on the throne with the Father and the Spirit was thou, O Christ, filling all things, thyself uncircumscribed. It's like one of the great lines the priest gets to. The ones near the altar, you guys might be able to hear it, but in the back, it's a private thing. It's a quiet thing, not private, it's a quiet thing. And then goes on, as life-bearing, as more splendid than paradise, as more radiant than any royal chamber, O Christ, is showed forth thy tomb, the fountain of resurrection. Death is actually changed into life, including our own deaths. They're actually changed. So the Lord is the great lover of mankind. We've been created in an image and likeness, and he has taken a Sabbath rest. But his rest, like he says, the Lord goes on working and so do I. This is what he's talking about. The disciples and Jesus were given a hard time by the Pharisees. They're like, you work on the Sabbath. And he says, well, the Father keeps working and so do I. You still have to honor the Sabbath. But the Lord, when he honors the Sabbath, he's in the grave with the body. He's in Hades with the soul as God. He's in paradise with the thief. And he's on the throne with the Father and the Spirit. That's the kind of rest Jesus takes. Incredible. So we move in this liturgy from one understanding of the Sabbath to another, from one understanding of death to another, to life, one understanding of what can happen if we give ourselves to Christ. No holding back. No I'll be embarrassed. No what will my boss think? No what will my spouse think? No holding back. Just going for the transformation as much as we can, putting ourselves in the hands of God and let him do it. So we get the most incredible gospel passage. It's so amazing. After the Sabbath, the dawn of the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary, they go to the sepulcher. There's another earthquake. We just had an earthquake, say, 3 days ago, but really it's 36 hours, We just had an earthquake. Now we've got another one. And an angel seems to have caused this one, comes down. The guards are trembling like dead men, of course. And the women are there, and the angel says, don't be afraid. I know you seek Jesus who was crucified. He's not here. He is risen, as he said. Come see the place where he was, where he laid. And go quickly and tell his disciples that he's risen from the dead. And behold, he's going before you to Galilee, and you will see him. Lo, I have told you. They departed quickly from the tomb, fear and joy, and ran to the disciples. And as they went to tell the disciples, what happens? Behold, Jesus met them. So the angels are like, okay, go to the disciples like he said, tell them the things he said to tell them. Here's what's going on. He's going to Galilee like he told you. You'll meet him there. And as the women are running, this is love. This is so good care. This is so much love. This is so joy and a sweetness and a little sneakiness. They're running and he's like, well, I'm going to surprise him. He did not need to do this. He did not need to do this. It's so sweet. They're running and he's like, he gets in their way. What's it say? It's so good. Behold, Jesus met them and says, hail, which might be today we'd say hey, hey. And they came up and took hold of his feet and worshiped him. It's all propriety is set aside, the rules are gone, Like what should be done is set aside. Now it's just what needs to be done. What must be done. That's where the Lord is always. You know, some of you had not met Father John Bethencourt before Palm Sunday, my spiritual father. And one of you came up and said, I think he might be a saint. I'm like, yeah, I think so too. But it's because he has this. I mean, the guy's always lived like on another planet, but I hope he watches this. But he lives in the other world. He's like otherworldly, you know? He wants to live there all the time. God grant that it would be so, you know? But he lives there so much more than I do, and maybe more than you do. Maybe a lot more, maybe a little bit more. But it feels like this sometimes when you're around it. Like, hey, you know, incredible. So he tells them, when Jesus interrupts the little errand the women are running to tell the disciples, don't be afraid. Go and tell my brethren to go to Galilee, and there they will see me. And then the sweetness is that everyone's going to see me. They're going to see me, everybody's going to see me. That's the sweetness. It's not like for the 11. Judas is gone now. It's not like just for the 11. You know, he's going to get Paul, who is killing Christians. He's going to get Paul. He's going to get the Roman Empire, which spent hundreds of years killing Christians. He gets all of Byzantium, the whole world, you know? He doesn't just get the 11. You know, we have these brotherhoods on Mount Athos and throughout the world, sisterhoods too, and they only last for a little bit, a little time. They're for a time. Think of the brotherhood of St. Joseph the Hesychast, right? So if you know this story, and I won't go into the details, but just briefly, he's got whatever, I don't know how many, there's 8 or 9 or whatever there are, brothers in his brotherhood, disciples really, he's teaching them. They're on Mount Athos, they are living in poverty. He dies, reposes, falls asleep, St. Joseph. And all of these guys, the majority of them, wind up being heads of all the monasteries all over, and revitalize all of monasticism on Mount Athos, along with some others, and St. Sophroni's book about St. Silouan, and there's some factors. But they wind up being the abbots of all these things. The brotherhood doesn't exist anymore. It wasn't an organization set up to go on forever. It was just the Lord called them together, and they were living as brothers, and they got very deep in the heart. They got very deep in the heart in prayer. The Lord nudged them, and they let him nudge them around. I'll do this. Should I do that? Yes, go do that. The Lord kind of pushed them around, and they said, okay, and they put themselves in the hands of God. And they wind up being, we have Elder Ephraim as part of that. All the monasteries all over North America are part of that. And all this kind of stuff came from just a brotherhood. But the brotherhood's gone. I went, it's in ruins. The last place they lived, it's just, they even had an arch of, you've seen maybe a picture, an arch of rocks over an entrance. It's fallen, and there's no one repairing it, like a museum. Oh, we have to keep this up. It's it's gone, it's done. But when the Lord goes to the 11, he keeps showing up. He's in the grave with the body, you know? He's in Hades with the soul as God. He's in paradise with the thief. He's on the throne with the Father and the Spirit. He's everywhere present, filling all things. He goes everywhere. And there's some things that are just for a time. But the Lord, we're in Mesa in 2023. This is why it's so ridiculous that they tried to start the little lie that someone stole Jesus' body, you know? Here's some money. They're tell him the disciples came by night and stole him away while you were sleeping. The guards would have smoothed, you know? Now they've just witnessed an angel coming down, and an earthquake because of it, and the tomb coming open, and there's women over there talking to Jesus, and whatever's going on. It's we're going to give you a great sum of money. They're all right. No, I mean, they were like dead. They said they were so fearful. What did it say? They were like dead men. Not like, man, I'm scared. They were like dead men are. Gone. They're out. They did take the money. That's how messed up they were. Just so you know. And maybe I'll end with that as the point. If we're not careful, this can have like a small effect on us. We could just go back to the rest of Saturday and yell at people at Trader Joe's while we're trying to get cheese. You know, we could. We can totally do that today. Karen Happick. That's what I'm going to start calling you from now on, Karen. Or whoever has to go to Trader Joe's, she has to go to Trader Joe's. She doesn't yell at people. You know, we could go about our day and be just disgruntled about gas prices. They're up 50 cents. I can't believe this. You know, and blame whichever president is in office or whoever owns Chevron or whatever. We just go through our life just on a worldly level, on an earthly level. Or we can just, and I'll just bring them up again, or we can try to live in that joy of Father John Bethencourt and let it like have a little effect on us so we go and like get a little bit of like the vision of this world. If Christ is resurrected, what does it mean for me? So the question I have, what might he do to you if you gave yourself totally to him? What might happen? Who might you forgive? What grudge might you let go? What might you do with your money differently if you gave yourself fully to God? I'm asking this of myself too, for sure. What might we do differently? How would we think about our coworkers, our job, the boss, our family, the sister we don't talk to, the brother who doesn't like us? How do we like live differently? Or is it just like, well, this is awesome, Saturday morning, Saturday night, great tonight, it's going to be great. And then I'm just going to go back to work. You know, I told you, I'll end with this. I told you years ago, someone called me on Bright Monday and said, now that Pascha's over, like that I would be free to talk to them. Now that Pascha's over, I want to talk to you about whatever. It broke my heart. Broke it. Which is probably easy to do when you're really tired on Bright Monday. But I'm like, Pascha's not over. It's like been going on for like 27 hours. Like we got 50 days, we got 40 days, you know, till Ascension and 10 more to Pentecost. We at least got that. But if you're with me on what I'm trying to say, Pascha never ends. Don't tell me it's over. It just got started and it goes on forever. You know, we don't have him in white. I wish we did. But St. Seraphim, he only wore white. You can see he's got the white here. But like if you see like, read accounts, and there's actually a picture of him. He greeted everyone with the Paschal greeting, Christ is risen. Don't say it back. Tonight, that's tonight. He greeted everyone with the Paschal greeting, and he always wore white. I mean, he was also like, you know, ribbing the boss at the monastery a little bit too. But like good saints, like St. John of Maximovich and the others too. But he kept a Paschal mindset. He lived in the Paschal joy, you know, the resurrectional power. Let's do what we can, okay? It may take a while to adopt this. It may take a while to get there, you know, but what if you got there? Like, what if we got there? You know, where we're just asking the Lord, what do you want me to do? Will you meet me today? Will you show me who I'm supposed to talk to? What do you have for me? You know, someone gave me this book, Lord. Do you want me to keep it? What do you want me to do with it? What's going on? This is a beautiful book. What should I do? You know, like living in relationship with the Lord. Everything goes in relationship. So nothing, we wouldn't introduce anything into that relationship that shouldn't be there. Selfishness, greed. We'd be like hurt when we sinned. It's like, this can't stand because I got to keep the Paschal mindset. I don't want to go back to the world. Would we watch everything we've been watching? Have the same conversations we've been having? You won't believe what so-and-so said. Oh, I know, yesterday you won't believe what they said to me. Like, is that a Paschal conversation? You know? So the Lord is calling us not just to a change, but to a transformation. Death to life. The tomb becomes the fountain of resurrection. Darkness actually becomes light. The Lord's calling that of us. All power in heaven and earth has been given to him. Just as the Lord met those women, he's meeting you. It's just, we got to ask for eyes to see. A heart that will be open to see and eyes to see. We need both. Both have to see. We can actually lose our eyesight. Our hearts are seeing. We're just fine. But we need the eyes to see and the eyes of our hearts to see. So we can see when the Lord shows up. We can worship him. Fall at his feet and worship him like the women on the way to his disciples. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.